enti Onua traders advocacy Ghana wo mo adwadifo a wo maka mo ho abom na no mo issue statement is very important to say ye ma wo hu dia yekoso so ma ka kire retailers ana say yen say ye kwa ye to no ho omo yiyi ne ba ko no because omo kotu from wholesale na omo dia ba shop na ye nya kwa akoto omo si eniema ne bo no de ma Ghana for na nwene ho say be ba fom na ma ka kire retailers no kra say mo nte so because say no to import now the eniema be fro bi ma so aba Ghana ha no wudu port wodo ma taxes aye je won nye tax ketewa omuya no mo say commissioner Emma Customs and Ghana Revenue Authority omo say introduce nkrofo bi wo port ho a omo from a task force na sika omo kra agege won chen no e chen so mo di etua duty kra yi niema no nti say aho kire de omo capital omo sika dwetire omo de kofa niema no kra ehye because na task force yaba no age wa we yaba no age ni nyina so duty ni taxes e ka ho cover ni ECOWAS we nyina ye nka over 27 taxes e no mutia e ne yesan sort sika e di from won ti e no ade omo press release no ha omo say Ghana for yan ka no ye tirim ni yan kai hu say e de ma ne bo ande e ma from ne e ma from ochena ni
you see say you're relying on taxation or the benyaska, that means you're going to impoverish the people. And baby, are journalists here now? There's no local production happening until almost everything that we consume the most, no, you're crowded back. And to import Niamano, say well currency and money draw, you feel extra burdened because they say also some dollars and some wakra, Sanyamano. And see what's happening is even businesses that are running today, to me, so people are shutting down their businesses because, of course, share exchange rates, no, and so now share shipping cost, duty, ni customs, things and no. And he said, you're a businessman, work of fine man, you have to make your profit. And he or share the duty, ni charges, ni no, so the two products in so, and so now the profit so. And he. That's exactly what we are experiencing right now. But what's the solution to all of this? It's a simple issue. Import bill substitution.
Yeah.
And what we are saying is, if we are importing, you can say you're importing $100 million worth of any product every year, which means the market is already here. The market is ready. And you're saying now, creating market on now, customers. No, the customers are already here.
There.
What you have to do is to start producing those things locally. And it's import duty in Nisanyamano, all those things will be removed away because you're not importing any longer. It is very simple. For instance, me show you a JNA issue, no? We import onions from Niger.
Burkina, Niger.
Yes. And if every year you spend the infant say $50 million import. If every year $50 million you declare JNA and I say in toes, all you have to do is say government should partner with the private sector. And instead of importing, no, we have to produce locally. And that solves all these issues. But when we say support for an alternative system of governance, no, as when you mentioned, no, be more a little reserved about it because remember, we saw how a certain government took over and started seizing private individuals' property in Isanyamano. And see, anytime anyone speaks about power and I say representing an alternative to the MPP and NDC, no, people feel threatened. That's what is going to happen. No, we are not pro-poverty. We are pro-wealth. Let's just say we want to make sure many people will become wealthy. And yes, we're saying we want a lot more people to benefit from our natural resources. And how do we do that? You see, foreign policy say every year they raise at least 2 million new millionaires. You see, only so far $1 billion US. That is enough to create 1,000 millionaires. Because 1 billion say China there's going to have 1 million, 1,000 of them, that becomes 1 billion. And see, if today you find your foreign policy and your policy say we're going to produce locally, and I said we're going to support local industry to produce locally. What it means is help Ghanaian citizens enter into production now. At least people are going to make all those millions here. Instead of over 50 million, they are at the Kokra. In toast, no. Why can't we have our farmers here producing those locally? It's all the money stays right here. And if every year, let's even be realistic here. So every year we bring 10 more people into that fold to produce what we are consuming here locally, it means you're using $50 million to import, and we can raise 10 new people to start producing that $50 million. No, those 10 people become ultimate millionaires eventually. Yeah. And see, if we focus on just the consumables, they are here consuming the most. Tomatoes, onions, food crops especially. So you're focusing on producing those things locally, it would release the burden of the traders from all of these things. But you see, if you watch Ghana as it is, Ghana is just a raw material producing country.
You produce finished product.
And social local production of the raw materials, and yet Ghanaians are
yeah.
Because social access to credit facilities. You need local banks and indigenous banks are to be financing such projects.
Yeah,
exactly. And he said, only local farmer crowd or go into our business. No, and say foreign banks or just ABC.
Yeah.
And those foreign banks, with profits. What they do is they expatriate all those monies back to their home countries. And so we are depleting not just the national resources in Ghana, but we are depleting the human resource as well. And see, it's very simple to solve this thing. If governments can partner with the private sector right now as it stands, and see, if you were importing rice, and yes, we'll go out of business, would there be? But if you were importing as an individual, you're importing $10 million worth of rice every year.
Yeah.
Government is saying, we will support you, so you can have access to the monies. But instead of importing the rice from outside, you can go into local production here. If the government gives you that guarantee, government gives you that access to the credit, and then you can grow your rice locally here. If nobody goes out of business, Debbie, we're saying, let's partner, let's scale up your businesses so we can meet the local demand. And as time goes on, production look cost through with modern technology in agriculture and all of that. You better increase your production rate.
Yeah.
If then you're looking at your neighboring countries' markets, if Ghana produces more than we consume locally, it means you have surplus. And then we can start exporting our surpluses. And that's how we can bridge this gap. But we have programs in this country, planning for food and jobs, and be wondering, where's the food? And where are the jobs that is creating? And see, if you haven't planned for food and jobs, what we should have been seeing, if it was effective and was working, we should have seen a reduction in the import bill that we're having. And see, the rice, the onions, the tomatoes, even we said, it has to be going down steadily because local production is substituting that. But we don't see that. And see, it's one rhetoric in one breath, but then the real practical issues on the ground does not reflect it. And this is what the traders are saying. And to wrap it up, we've gone to a point that I say the partisan politics to aside. Because they say, oh, you're a businessman, it does not matter if you're MPP or NDC. You are feeling the crunch. What we have to do is say, let's find a new working alternative. An alternative that is really understanding the issues at hand, and it's not just going to be politicking as usual, but they have policies and the know-how to turn this thing around. And like I've said, anyone who can really champion the cause of local production of our most consumed commodities, all these things to be taken care of in one breath.